Hello, Jeremy.
What is up, Mike? What is going on, everybody? Wavy Lays.
Wavy Lays and
Wavy Rays.
I've got milk tonight, just straight milk.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I guess you are owed, so that's a thing that an owed person would do is drink milk and eat chips. So,
so when we were kids, we were so poor that my mother used to put milk in a bowl and then tell us that it was ice cream, but that we were just too late. She was like, "You should have come when I told you the first time." And I'm like, I didn't hear the first time. So that's how bad it was, man. I'm telling you, pretty bad.
Oh, that's good stuff. That's good stuff. Guys, if you're just jumping on, we appreciate you. We got a good show for you tonight. Excited to bring back on our good buddy Gabriel and do a follow-up interview. He's got a lot of fire to drop, some updates on where he's at and what he's changing and how it's going. So we got a good show. And if you've been following along, this is episode 24, and Gabriel was one of our very first special guests that we had on the show way back when, in the single digits. First year, I'm telling you, man, hey, we're just double digits now, baby, but
double digits.
24 episodes, man. I feel good about that.
I do. I really do.
I feel real good about it. So, hey, do me a favor. If you're hopping on, go ahead, drop us a heart, drop us a like, whatever you got, whatever emoji. And if you're on the Facebook, share this out into the groups. I'm trying to get it shared out into the groups. We would greatly, greatly, greatly appreciate that if you did. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and bring him on, Mike.
Absolutely.
Boom. There he is.
Let's see if we've got
Thank you for having me, guys. It's good to be back.
I don't know if we've
we're
got
glad to have you, brother.
We need some kind of an applause button. I don't have one, so sorry.
Yeah.
Gabriel, my brother, it is just beautiful to see you. I have been, when Jeremy told me that you were going to be the guest this week, I've just been counting down the days. Super excited.
Yes, man.
He was fangirling. Yeah, fangirling.
I'm totally fangirling.
Mike's been having a killer season.
You have been having a killer season.
I have had a great season.
Fantastic, brother. Super excited about getting into the interview and seeing what's up. We know there's a lot of changes going on, so
there is.
Great.
There is. We made a lot of changes this year. We had a really good year last year, but there were some things that I knew we needed to fix. And this year there was a catalyst somewhere in early spring.
Nice.
And I decided to kind of put the hammer down and make those changes immediately. And at first, like with change, it's uncomfortable. At first, it's new, it's unknown. There's always a lot of questions behind it, but it ended up being some of the best things I did. And so here we are.
Well, we're definitely going to get into that. And along those lines, guys, if you have questions for Gabriel, you need to ask the questions. We'll do our very best within this hour to get those up and allow him to answer the questions. We have a bunch that we want to ask, and then just some topics that we really want to get involved in. Gabriel is he's a marketing guru. He's a business guru. He can talk to clients, whether it be in person, over the phone, through text, like nobody's business. And super, super excited to have Gabriel on the podcast tonight.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. So, I just want to kind of dip my foot in the water a little bit and maybe see if there's anybody else out there that has noticed. At least one of the things that I noticed about this year. This year has been a little bit of. I had high hopes for this year. When it started off, I know that during the first episode that me and you guys did, we talked a lot about Google, optimizing Google, the results that I'd had with Google, and kind of like what kind of plans I had for 2024 to make Google like really generate a bag for us in a crazy way. And so, but Google's a finicky creature. I'm starting to realize that Google's one of those things where it never stops changing. And I mean, I guess you expect it, right, from a multi-billion-dollar conglomerate that is there to basically make money, right? They're for profit. So there's been some changes with some of the Google stuff, especially some of the stuff that I said in the last episode.
Okay.
I don't think they're negative changes. I just think that they're changes. And that's something that as a business owner, you have to learn to acclimate and work with. Things are always going to be changing. And as a business owner, I feel like you need to be flexible enough to kind of change with them, but also structured enough to stay on your path.
Wow.
There's a balance.
Yeah.
There's a balance there. So yeah, one of the biggest things was I was a big advocate for LSA or Google Local Service Ads. We spoke about it. I spoke with Jeremy on multiple occasions about the kind of results that I'd had with it. And, this year, it seems like LSA isn't doing the same thing it did last year.
Yeah.
I know that I'm not the only one that noticed it. I'm on a lot of other groups, Google groups and stuff like that, where they talk about, some of these changes that are about to start happening, even with regular Google ads. If you're running regular Google ads, there's big changes coming. And you have to be ready. Be ready. So I know that the amount of ad spend that we had last year and the leads that we used to generate from LSA has just decreased dramatically. And I think that just reinforces the idea that as a business owner, marketing isn't a one-stop shop. Like it's not you don't go to one place and market. You don't only do yard signs. You don't only do Google ads. You don't only do Facebook ads. There needs to be multiple baskets that you're, kind of filling at the same time, because that's how you get the consistent lead flow.
Sure.
And you can be the, best salesman in the world, but without leads, you're not going to generate anything. Or you can be the worst salesman in the world, but with a ton of leads, you're going to hit at least a few targets. And so there's something to be said about that.
Yeah. What would you say, just a few moments ago, you're talking about the great changes within Google even this year. If you had two or three that you said were really pivotal changes for Google, especially in our industry, what would you toss up as two or three changes?
So number one was with the Google local service ads. I noticed that, like I said, the amount of leads we were getting last year and the amount of ad spend we had per week, because that's how you'll set it up on LSA, it's just vastly different. I know that I close to quadrupled my ad spend per week. Last year, I think we were somewhere in the 300s, and we were generating so many leads out of LSA per week. And $300 is small change, but it did crazy for us ROI.
Nice.
This year, I really put the gas on that fire, and I had been shocked. 2-3 months into the season, I was like, what's going on?
Oh boy.
And thank goodness. And it wasn't that we weren't slow by any means. We weren't slow, but I expected better from LSA. And thank heavens that we do great work. We have great clients. We do a lot of good follow-up. We get referrals. We have great relationships. But that was a big shocker. So the amount of leads coming through LSA, I just think that honestly it boils down to there's a lot more competition.
Okay.
I think LSA was one of those things that very few people knew about. And so the people that did know about it and were using it were really the ones getting the benefits, right? You're showing up at the top. And as more people got aware of this Google local services, Google guarantee, you can be at the very top of the search page and blah, blah, blah. Now there's a lot of competition.
Okay.
And there might be other people out there in our industry, outside of our industry, maybe even bigger companies that offer our services that subcontract it out to us, smaller businesses, that have larger budgets. So they can put down a tremendous amount for their weekly budget on these things. And so it makes it very difficult to compete at that level when you're talking Google guaranteed, because it goes based off of numerous things, right? Your reviews count, how much you're spending counts,
right.
Your content counts, how your response time is counts, all of these things count. And so I just think that there's a lot more competition in LSA. Number two would be, and I just realized this the other day, so anybody that's running Google ads, pay attention. I'm a big advocate for Google ads. Google is making some drastic changes on their transparency side of things. So as far as consumer protection, and they're making every Google ad account holder, for lack of words, verify their identity.
This is true. Yes, I've heard this.
And because I know that there's a lot of marketing agencies out there, there's a lot of scamming going on. So Google's been really hammering down on some of this stuff. And so let's just say that, yes, Bright, we are. But let's just say that you have your Google listing says one thing, but your LLC, your incorporation paperwork, your organization, actual legally is a different name. They're asking for those similar documents that LSA was asking for.
Wow.
Just to be Google guaranteed. And that's just to run regular Google ads, pay per click. And so, there's some things that I did in the back end of my business. I DBA'd a long time ago, and I only chose to use it this year. I know that we spoke on the last episode about keywords and SEO and how that really helps with search engine traction and traffic. My business name is originally Dream Team Exterior Solutions. I DBA'd as Dream Team Exterior Solutions, pressure washing and property maintenance. The reason I did that was because Dream Team was doing really well, but I just felt like I didn't have pressure washing like Kentucky Wash Pros or like Mike's Power Wash. You know what I mean? In my name. So if somebody says power washing near me, Mike's definitely going to show up before me.
I see.
And so I DBA'd to add that keyword into my business name so that I had a chance to compete at a higher level with the people that just spontaneously said, XYZ power wash services or pressure washing. And so when they asked, and my Google listing said Dream Team Exterior Solutions, pressure washing and property maintenance. And when they asked for that paperwork, I said, oh my, good thing I DBA'd, because I have the actual paperwork that legally says that's my business name. So I can do that. I can run those ads. Otherwise, they would have suspended my account come next month. So that would be a very big thing for somebody who doesn't have their ducks in a row, or somebody who's been flying on the stroke of luck, because there's a lot of them out there. And good luck to you. I really hope it keeps on working. I don't want to throw shade on anybody. I want everybody to do well, but things are getting harder. Especially these big lead generators that are paid lead generators like Google or Facebook or something. They're going to keep hammering down and making it so that they can provide their consumers or their customers the best of the best. And that means that they're going to tighten down on us, the business owners or the advertisers or the producers or the vendors, to make sure that they're vetting us for that. So get ready and kind of make sure you dot your I's and cross your T's.
Yeah.
Number 3, I think just Google as a whole. Google as a whole is one of those things that now everybody is on Google.
Mm-hmm.
You have marketing agencies that are using Google, and then they're using SEO and Facebook ads and doing the same tactics that home service businesses were to generate revenue, but they're using us as consumers because we need them, right? We're too busy. We might need the SEO. We might need the website. We might need the logo. We might need this, that. And so there's a lot of competition out there, guys. I mean, I think that, and it's an election year. You know, people are tightening up on their pockets. People are tightening up on their pockets. They don't know how the economy is going to go. These things all play a factor in how your business is going to go. So you need to be kind of malleable and be able to, you know, kind of roll with the punches and keep it going, because sometimes it's going to get hard.
Yeah. Yeah. So concerning your business, you've spoken to us about some changes that you've made. We've talked a little bit about Google, but within the framework of your business itself, I know you said you fired some of your services, you've picked up some additional things. Kind of give us an overview of that. That'll give us some things to play with there.
Yeah. So last year we had a phenomenal year. I know that I was not shy about kind of putting it out there that we had a huge account with Lowe's in town. A huge account with Lowe's. It was probably off the top of my head, $60,000-$70,000 a year account. This was year 2 that we were taking care of them. Last year, they were getting a little funny with the money.
Okay.
And I don't want to throw shade on Lowe's home improvement stores. I think that, you know, they're wildly successful, but I know who they're competing with also, because I work with them too. And so there was some things that were out there that, I mean, and I saw somebody else's post earlier this week. I don't, you know, I think we all saw it. Ben had a post this week earlier about some of the challenges he was facing. And I felt that had really hit home for me, because I know what that's like. Me and him spoke about it in December of last year.
Okay.
And so I'll just put it out there, right? We did a lot of work for them in about a 2 or 3 month period. And, you know, a lot of these commercial accounts are net 30, net 45, net 60. They can get out to like net 90 sometimes.
Right.
These specifically were net 30 accounts. We did about $50-something thousand worth of work in 2 months, which was significant. I mean, we did a lot of work on top of our residential and other clients. And come like day 45 last year, we still hadn't received a single dime.
Oh my gosh.
Gosh.
And so I'm bankrolling everything out of my pocket, and, you know, consistent cash flow accounts with residential work and other commercial work. And it was, I mean, the pocket wasn't empty, but it wasn't what it should have been. And so I really started tightening down on them, and you know, I think the first time they paid out was like 10% of the total bill. It's pretty crazy. It was almost insulting. But finished off the year strong, finished off everything. They paid up to date. We started off this year, and they started off day 45. They owed us $18,000. And they started kind of like the same track record again. And I said, you know what? I feel like we're doing good enough to the point now where we need to qualify our clients.
Nice.
Even
Lowe's.
You know what I mean? I feel as though like I take a lot of pride in what we do. And I'm speaking for myself, but I know that you guys, I'm speaking for the industry. Like, I take a lot of pride in what we do. We make things look really good.
Yeah.
And that, to me, that brings me satisfaction. I tell my clients all the time, I'm in the business of making you happy. I just happen to do it through cleaning stuff.
Nice.
You know what I mean? Either way it goes. So I felt that way, and I started, you know, I started praying on it and thinking on it. And one day I woke up and I said, I'm not doing it.
Wow.
I just can't fathom putting the amount of energy that I put into everything that I do. I can't fathom the sleepless nights how tired I am, the pain I'm putting my body through, how I'm going to feel in 20 years after I keep on going as hard as I'm going now. And, you know, financially not being compensated at a fair way for what I'm doing. And so I fired them. I fired my biggest commercial account, and it was hard. And behind them, Jeremy and I think Mike and I, we also talked about another account that I had that was a non-for-profit. We did a big number of sales for them. I think it was like close to 40,000 last year, and refused to put in any bids for them this year. We were their only vendor. We had nothing but great reviews. We had nothing but great relationships. They're a non-for-profit that helps with home ownership and stuff like that. And so even the homeowners, after they work with them, were so satisfied that they stayed clients, paying clients, residential clients. And so, but they wanted to make us compete to try and drive down the cost as a non-for-profit. And I just said, no, the price is the price is the price. I do great work.
You know,
I do great work. And
they might be a non-profit, but you ain't.
Exactly. And apart from that, you know, it just boils down to the fact that if I want to do great work and do great work at a high level, I mean, they don't pay LeBron James pennies for what he does. This man is putting his body through crazy things. He's doing phenomenal things in the athletic sphere. Like, they pay him what they pay him because he does what he does. And I feel like, I don't want to toot my own horn. I don't feel like I'm LeBron James, but I'm trying to be. And I can't get there if I'm not at least helped and supported along the way. And I think that it's a two-way street. I think your clients, whether residential or commercial, need to understand that they're supporting the fact that you will continue to provide great services, great communication, great everything for everybody. That's your contribution to the economy. That's your contribution to the community, making sure that there's a lot of scamming contractors out there. You know what I mean? I'm not one of them.
Right.
The reason that I'm charging what I'm charging is because I can afford to come back next year.
Yep.
You're not going to call me and my number's going to be off. You're not going to call me and my business is going to be, oh, I don't do that anymore. I got a full-time job. I don't do that. I charge what I charge because I want to be able to come back, because I want to be able to have you count on me, because 10 years down the road, when your neighbor needs something, you say, oh, you need to call Gabriel. Gabriel's going to show up. And I'm going to show out.
Exactly.
This guy.
Yeah, no.
I mean, but that's the reality of it is if you really want to succeed, I'm not saying be the most expensive service provider in the universe. I'm just saying understand your numbers, understand your market,
right,
and understand exactly what you need to be able to feel good and do excellent work.
Yeah.
There's expensive equipment, there's expensive cleaning solutions, there's expensive systems, there's expensive time.
Yeah.
I put in 48 hours straight last week. No sleep.
Dude.
I'm not even lying. 48 hours straight. I was beat.
You were eating coffee grounds.
I'm telling you, I got to the point where Red Bulls and coffee wasn't doing anything.
Right.
Seriously, I had a commercial job. I couldn't start till 10 p.m.
Yeah. Right.
Couldn't start until 10 p.m. We didn't get out of there till 4. And I was there.
It's great.
With a 10-month-old baby at home and a wife at home that leaves for work at 5.
Yeah. Okay, so for the you're talking there about raising your prices to match your value. For the guy or gal who's struggling emotionally to raise their prices, like what advice do you give to the person who says, I'm just afraid that I'm going to miss out on work if I raise my prices, and go?
I think it's inevitable. The first time I raised my prices, I think I lost like 20 some odd 30% of my customer base.
Okay.
but I did 150% more in revenue.
Right. So more money, less.
Less transactions, more revenue. It just, and that's just kind of how it goes. I mean, you have to be able to understand that not everybody is your customer. It depends who you want to appeal to, right? Because I want to appeal to these high profile. I'm trying to appeal to estate owners, and if you have a 5,000 square foot home or below, you're likely not going to really love my price.
Okay.
Because it's going to be more than what you bargained for, and it's probably a significant amount of your monthly expenses.
Yeah.
And I just don't feel like everybody's my customer. I tell customers that all the time when they call me to quote. Sometimes, you got the people that'll tell you, "Oh, I'm just looking to see what your best price is."
Right. I can
I
appreciate
tell them the best price comes with the best work.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, whomever it is, I'm not the cheapest. So if you're gonna make a decision based on price, I'm likely not gonna be the person you're gonna choose.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you that up front because I believe in being transparent, and that's part of the value I bring to the table with my business.
So then maybe that's the answer to my question, is just being honest with yourself, being transparent with your customers, biting the bullet. Would you say that there's a ratio? Maybe there is, maybe there isn't. A ratio for the guy who needs to bump up his prices to get to where he really needs to be. Does he do it all at one time, or is it 10%? Is it $20 on every sale, or
I mean, no, I just think it just takes sitting down and really tracking numbers, right? So like, first off, understanding where you are in business, knowing what your vision is for your business. Because there's people out there that don't care to have employees, that don't want to run multiple rigs, that don't want to really take on that responsibility. And that's cool. I applaud them for that. I'm significantly more ambitious. I've always been that way.
Sure.
Even when I was a kid, I had like kids trying to mow lawns and snow shovel for me so that I can make some money off them. That's just what I did. But regardless to what it was, you need to understand where you want to go and what you want to do.
Yeah.
And if you're, there's people in our industry that are getting started late in life. And so they might not have the time that it takes to build a business, or the budget that it takes to build a business over that time. That is going to make them be able to exit profitably.
Right.
So just understanding those things. But as far as raising your prices, it just boils down to, is your market going to bear it, right? Like Jeremy is in the super country. Mike and I are all over the city and the suburbs. There's a big difference in the amount of population. And so if Jeremy were to raise his prices enough and lose 50% of his business, his revenue is probably going to be affected a little bit. He might be doing higher ticket transactions, but as a whole,
right,
the revenue might take an impact. And if he's okay with that and he's happy with that revenue, cool, but those are all things you need to think about. For me, I live in Indianapolis. So, we're like we're probably got to be close to like 2 million people in a very small, big city. So it's not like being out in, Shelbyville, Indiana, where there's, maybe 100,000
or less. Yeah.
If right. Like, so it's just different. I know that there's also about 108 competitors in my market. And so there's work out here for all of us. Not everybody can do what I can do. And I'm not going to be able to do all the jobs that everybody can do either. There's people that have way more rigs, that do more work, that do higher level commercial work than I. There's a guy that cleans the airport. I can't do that in a week.
Right.
But what he gets paid for the airport, I probably can generate in a week doing multiple transactions.
Right.
So it depends on where you're at.
Now, the question or the statement that's on the screen, certainly that's subjective. There's more to this story. but speak to this. He said, fancy homes don't pay. There's a period there. Too much BS, dumb choices of services. I've been thinking services. You can do normal homes for more money in a day. I think most of us would argue that point.
I mean, I'll use myself as an example. I was talking to Jeremy yesterday. I think I did 6 in-person estimates yesterday. Yesterday was Tuesday. Yeah, 6 in-person estimates. I closed them all. I ended up 6 out of 6, Jeremy.
Huh.
Yeah.
One of them.
I think I talked to you when you was at just 4.
Yeah. One of them just called me for a pool patio. Now, when he called me about it, he was a little difficult to understand. And before I just kind of made him repeat himself and irritated him over the phone, I scheduled him for an in-person when I had an in-person estimate day. And I get out there, it's a 14,000 square foot mansion.
Wow.
Glad I went to the in-person.
Yeah, no doubt.
I was very well off. And he was talking about just this pool patio, and he didn't know if he really wanted it done. He just wanted to know the price because he goes out there twice a year. It doesn't really matter to him, but he wants to know if I come in at a price that makes sense for him to just get it out of his head. So I talked to him a little bit. I gave him my regular price. And then I said, but I don't want to just do your pool patio. I gotta be honest. You have a gorgeous home. I want to do it all. I want to make your home look like 30 years ago when you built this thing, and I want to make your eyes want to pop out of their sockets. You know, there's little things here and there, right? Like you have the pool deck, you have the pool cover, you have this balcony up here. There's some black streaking on some of this natural stone and stuff. I can get all that out. And so he started expressing his concerns with some of these delicate surfaces with a 30-year-old luxury home that's custom built, and these businesses that were builders are no longer in business. So repairing them, replacing them is going to be very expensive and difficult to do.
Yeah.
And so I sat down with him. I had a conversation. I told him my regular price. I told him what I'd do it for him. And we ended up closing absolutely everything on the home. Everything. It's a one-day job. And I'll probably do in one day what some people do in 2.
Now, normally I would not ask this because, I don't do a lot of money talk, but because of the nature of this question here, fancy homes don't pay. He says,
fancy home paid.
Yeah. He said, I can do normal homes for more money in a day. Now he just said that. And by the way, Soft Wash Science, I love you and I appreciate your contribution. I'm using this because you threw that out there for all of us.
That's a great topic.
What was the ticket price that you closed on that, if you don't mind sharing?
So the ticket price on that was just shy of $5,000.
Okay.
Now, I tried to sell them on a full house watch. It's a stucco natural stone and lime and some limestone capping. There's a bunch of retaining walls. It's built on 6 acres. So it's a big home.
Yeah.
And I just kind of picked here and there and everywhere, and I let him know I can do it. And trust me, I can do it. You don't have to worry about the stucco with pressure. I'll come out here with a spray bottle and show you I can clean it. And so in one day I'll do just shy of $5,000 at one home. I don't have gas cost from multiple stops.
Yep.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
I spend close to $40 to $50 a day
right
in gas between machines and vehicles.
Oh, I get it.
You know what I mean? And so I don't have multiple stops to make. I have one place to go to. I think that made sense. For one day, I'll make a decent amount of money. For him to do larger, or maybe even just the cookie cutter homes where you're doing $300, $400, $500 house washes. How many do you have to do in a day to get $5,000? 10? I don't know that many people doing 10 houses as an owner operator in one day.
Yeah.
And then with that tight of a schedule, do you have time to do your 5 rounds? Do you have time to do your walk arounds with the customer? Do you have your time to do your follow-up or your upselling or your cross-selling, whatever you're doing? Like, you don't have that time. Your schedule is so packed that you're compromising quality for quantity.
Yeah, this will be the last time we have you as a guest on the show. Why don't you just say, Mike, are you listening? Listen, Mike. I love
This
it.
conversation's
I'm not
for you,
saying
Mike.
that. I'm just saying there's not 10 washes. I mean, Joe.
I feel like this is an intervention for me. Like, you guys set me
No,
up.
I mean, look, you've been in business 10 years.
Right.
10 years. I've been in business 3.
I know, I get it.
You know what I mean? So, but I had a different vision. I'm 34 almost, right? Like, you're not 34 years old. Like, I'm not calling you old. I'm just saying you got a lot of hype and energy for where you're at in life. But I'm not gonna be that energetic at your age.
Don't
I'm that energetic now. I'm working so that when I get to 40, 50, I can take a back seat.
Yeah. Okay. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. I'm going to call you when you're 40 or 50 and ask you if you're taking the back seat. I have a feeling you won't be, but probably could. You probably could, but probably won't.
He'll be owning multi-properties at that point.
Oh, I'm sure.
I'm thinking about getting into flipping houses.
I knew it.
Just quick flips. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the goal for me is different than the goal for some people, and I understand that. I'm at a different place in my life. I come from a different path. Not than everybody, but some people. You know, everybody has their own path and journey in life, and because of our experiences, we want certain things, or we like certain things, or we are enticed by certain things. And so I just feel like everybody's unique in their own way, and you embrace it because that's what makes you you.
Yeah. I like that.
Take notes, Mike.
I'm taking notes.
Hey, come on, no. So,
well, you know, it's funny. We kind of go into this little vein here of you know, the intervention for Mike, but I mean it sincerely. That I was thinking just today that I really want to, maybe if time allows, for you to do some convincing, and I mean that. I really want to be convinced. So I won't play devil's advocate. I will be literally the Mike advocate, the fresh advocate, because there are guys out there who are just like me and who may be like Soft Wash Science here, who you said it best there, Gabriel. We come from a different cut in the cloth, and I am 53 years old, thinking about 63 all the time. I don't want to do in-person estimates because I don't have time to do in-person estimates because I'm washing. So I have zero plans to hire employees. Convince me, if you will, Mr. Gabriel, that I need to go a different route even at my age. Convince me. I need to do in-person estimates.
What's an employee going to cost you?
Okay.
What are you paying them? 20, 25, 22? I feel like that's fair and livable.
Okay.
Right? You can give them incentives and bonuses and all that stuff, but base pay, right? At $20 an hour, I'm just going to pull out my calculator. At $20 an hour, there's 80 working hours a year. That's $41,600 a year. That's what it's going to cost you to hire either a technician or somebody to do your in-person estimates for you on base pay with no incentives.
Okay.
Now, if you want a great salesman, they're going to want a lot more. But a technician can do that job for that and maybe some bonuses or incentives because you'll be able to afford it, right? So let's just say if you're, and I kind of tapped on this with Jeremy whenever we were talking yesterday, I prefer 400 customers that'll pay me $1,500 a piece over 600 that'll pay me 800.
Sure.
Which is it's a pretty decent average ticket, $800.
Sure.
But 1,500 is great. And when you do the math, there's a big difference in what you're making a year.
Sure.
And with that difference, you can afford to pay somebody else and still make more money. And maybe then you don't have to do the washing all the time. You might want to do it like I did when I started hiring employees and I had multiple employees in the field. I only went to the bigger commercial jobs or the specific residential jobs.
Yeah.
I started every job with them, or I checked it after they left when they weren't there, just to make sure that I approved of it, right? But I didn't have to be at every job. The business didn't depend on me. And then I had a baby and I was able to step away for a week and the business still ran. And it was kind of cool knowing that I had the liberty of being able to do something like that and spend time with a newborn baby while the business was going. And I didn't even have to worry about, is the job going to get done? The schedule was done. Everything was on there. They knew what to do. And it just got taken care of. Luckily, we didn't have any callbacks, but I'm assuming with employees, it's going to happen, right? And that's your time as an owner to show face. So you have to weigh it out. For me, if you do 400 customers paying you $1,500 a piece, right?
Big money.
That's 600 grand.
Right.
$600,000 a year. But you can do 600 paying you 800, and that's 480.
Okay.
That's $120,000 difference.
Right.
And you worked a lot more. That's 200 more homes or transactions you did. That's about one a day almost. I mean, to me, the numbers just make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't argue the numbers.
And that's another thing, is hiring employees comes with responsibilities, right? You're paying more taxes. You have more of a responsibility. When I hire somebody, I really like to know what their goals are in life. Do you want to buy a house? Do you know, is there some shiny object you want to buy, whatever? Like a lot of the people that we tend to hire are younger. So I teach them about credit building. I teach them about, you know, how to structure your finances so that come the off season, you're good. Yeah. Those types of things I feel like are benefits that I can offer as an employer that aren't monetary. I can stuff somebody's pockets with cash, but if they don't know how to use it and get to where they want to go, it's not going to help them. Money's a tool at the end of the day. It's not everything.
Sure.
Right. So, I mean, those are just some things, and I don't know it all. I still learn, but as I learn, I pass on the knowledge because I feel like that's our duty in life, right?
Yeah.
When you get to the end of the road, do you turn around and help a brother out, or do you go through the door by yourself? Me personally, my heart says turn around.
Yeah.
But those are the things that you consider whenever are you going to hire employees? I don't want to do it. I don't want that responsibility, whatever. But then for me, it gets difficult because it's really hard. And I know Mike and I have gone through it, right? I texted you about some signs and you were washing. You could not answer the phone for me. Yeah. And it wasn't, I was your customer, and I'm sure I've been on the other end of that. It's frustrating being on a ladder or being on a roof or doing something and knowing that you can't just stop that machine to answer that phone call because it's going to sound unprofessional.
Right.
But I got chemicals sitting on this surface and I'm going to have to make this call brief. You know, it's just, there's trials out there as a business owner. And so for me, I want to be able to give initial first impressions that blow people's minds away.
Yeah.
And I feel like it starts with the phone call. So I have a call script, I have all that stuff, but sometimes if I'm out washing, it makes it hard.
Yeah, sure. Do you do much washing?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I actually lost one of my full-time employees. And we had enough work scheduled out that I was running 2 routes by myself for like a month. It was hard. But like I told people, they didn't expect me to show up, and I showed up, and they were like, "Oh man, I didn't think you were going to be the one doing the work." I said, well, short staff. Sometimes the show's got to go on.
Yeah.
And they said the exact same thing, but I'm sure they appreciated the fact that I wasn't going to reschedule them. I wasn't going to do anything in effect there. They didn't have anything to do with it. My job is I promised you X, Y, and Z is going to get done on this date. Short of lightning striking one of my vehicles or something like that, I'm going to be there. That's why I charge what I charge.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Well, I love that quote. I charge what I charge, or maybe you said I charge so much because I can afford to come back next year. I'm going to quote you on that.
I say that because I literally had somebody, they asked for a quote. They said, the guy that did it last year was less than half the cost, but he's no longer in business.
Right.
And my response to them, I can read it directly off of my CRM. It wasn't automated. I took the opportunity to write in it myself. Was something along the lines of, where was this guy?
That's interesting.
And I told him exactly that that is the reason why we are not charging less than half our costs. It's because I want to be able to come back. I don't want you to love my work so much and want me next year, but not be able to have me because I charge too little and now I'm out of business.
Right. Yep.
You deserve better than that, sir, ma'am.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I had an instance with a quote. I've had several instances like that where I was about 4 times higher than the other guy. You know, you're talking, you're talking like just picture like about a 3,500 square foot house, and I gave my price, and they like to fell over for the house in the driveway, and they said, well, the last guy did it for $175 or $200, and I was like, well, call him.
You should call him.
I told the husband and wife that in the driveway. Now, maybe it wasn't the most professional way to say it. You might need to call him.
Heck, I'll
he
call
ain't
him.
coming back. You know what I'm saying? He ain't here. He ain't watching no more. It ain't happening.
And part of the process is look, things happen. Sometimes you come across a customer that is extremely anal and finicky, and I've had them.
Yeah.
They might be married to some, commercial general contractor, and they know how to pick things apart like you wouldn't believe.
Yep.
And sometimes the cheap guys, when you get that text message, you can expect them not to come back or answer.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
I charge enough to where if something's going on, I'm not gonna send anybody. I'm not gonna give you the ghost. I'm not gonna block you. No, I'm gonna pick up the phone. I'm gonna call you. We're gonna go out there together. We're gonna get eyes on the project, me and you, right there, side by side, and we're gonna make a decision. And it's gonna be fair for the both of us, and we're both gonna walk away happy because that's what I'm in the business of doing.
Yeah.
I just do it through cleaning stuff. My business is I make people happy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We're in the customer service business, and it just happens to be
whether you like it or not. We're in customer service, so you better have your customer service hat on when things go wrong.
Absolutely.
And it's happened. I'm never the cheapest. I will venture to say I'm probably one of the most expensive in my market. No lie.
Okay, so we're talking big scale homes. Multiple services at each stop, maybe one day jobs at one home, and all of that sounds great. What do you do? What does Gabriel do when Sally calls and she says, hey, I need my house washed? Is that what you do? And then Gabriel says, that's exactly what I do, ma'am. I'm your guy. And she says, fantastic. This is my address. And you Google it, and it's this tiny little house. And it's just what do you do with those small or cookie cutter neighborhood homes when that's really not your market, but you get lots of calls for them?
So there's one day a week that I don't pack with work. And it's right in the middle of the week. It's Wednesday. Every Wednesday for me is what I like to call a light day.
Okay.
And so if I get these, 1,300 square foot homes, 1,500 square foot homes, something that we can knock out in like 35 to 40 minutes.
Right.
I'm going to quote it based off of time and what I feel like I deserve.
Okay.
I'm never going to give somebody a $200 house wash. That's just not in that's not in the book of business.
Sure.
But I'm going to make it fair. It might be $349 after a new customer discount. It might be something like that. I might add more value, right? Somehow I'm going to make it right, but I'm going to tell them, and you're in luck because I have a spot coming up next Wednesday that's wide open, and I think it has your name on it. And I feel like
I'm going to go take a nap on that. It's crazy.
And I feel like I don't get them all, but honestly, those really aren't my customers. If I hit a few of them, okay, great, I'm happy. But that's not who I'm targeting. If you look at my content, if you look at what I'm putting out, if you look at everything else, it just doesn't line up.
Okay.
I'll do them. Yes, we do them. Of course, we don't only wash Rick Ross's mansion, right? But sometimes those are the customers you end up getting blown away by too, because they're the ones that love you so much that they want you to come back every year.
Yeah.
But it's just, especially in my neighborhood, I live in a small neighborhood. My house is not huge. I don't have a mansion. My house is a 1-story, 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home. It's just me, my wife, my baby. We don't need a lot, right? But my neighborhood is not my customer. When they see my prices and they call, I almost never get hired.
Okay. Well, that's the answer right there. You price it in such a way that those people cannot afford, or it's not within their budget to hire.
And some of them will say, I really want to go with it, but it's just not in my budget right now.
Yeah.
Like they see the value, it probably just doesn't make financial sense, and they're just not a brainiac that's going to go out and do something crazy to their finance. And I respect that, because I wouldn't either. Somebody quoted me $10,000 to put up a chain link fence at my house. I'm not going to go with it.
Right.
But, that's just not my customer. It's really not. And I hate to say that because I don't want to sound cocky. That's not who I'm appealing to. That's not who I'm going to connect with. That's not who's going to appreciate what I'm wanting to do.
Yeah. So,
and we offer more services, right? Like we offer, up until this year, we used to offer pest control. We do pool maintenance. We do, a 1,300 square foot home doesn't have an in-ground pool with pavers.
Right.
That's an anomaly if it does. So my vision for starting my business was being the one-stop shop for somebody that has all of these things and appreciates it, and they pay for these things.
Right.
And that's how I grew up. So it was, okay, well, I know that there's people out there that will spend $20,000 a year maintaining their home. I can't offer them all of them, but if I can bite a chunk out of that, $5,000 or $6,000 a year out of one customer, and I can do that 6 times over, then I'm okay.
Yeah, sure.
So that's not my target market. It's not.
Okay. So I want to speak for just a second about from the people over profits mindset, because guys and gals who watch this program, they often don't hear this kind of lingo. So when they hear this lingo coming from Gabriel, it may sound it may even seem to be the opposite of what you might see on my program, on my channel. And we use that phrase people over profits a lot. So we come from a very generous spirit in our business model. So I want to answer a little bit of what I can already hear some people saying. This doesn't sound like Mike's type of business model. I want to help someone understand that it very much so can still be the same thing. Gabriel is not saying we are firing all poor people and the little old ladies, they just can't afford us. And
I donate work.
Absolutely,
I donate work.
That needs to be said. That's where I'm going with this, because what I tell people, I've had people say that, like, Mike, you almost talk like you're out of both sides of your mouth, because in one breath you're saying people over profits, in another breath you're saying that really isn't my target customer. But here's what we need to understand is, if that customer, Sally, that we spoke of a moment ago, with 1,200 square foot home or less, and it's a $400 ticket at the most, that's within her budget, but we're going to be $650 all day, and that rules her out. We need people to understand that if she needs her if she needs her home cleaned, it will get cleaned. It will probably be by someone else, but guess what? Now we're offering someone else's family an opportunity to make money.
Exactly.
So we're not saying this person will never get their house washed and to heck with them. We're saying not only will she get her house washed, but the new guy who's showing up next month or this year to wash for the first time, he's going to benefit as well. So I just feel like that needs to be said, so people aren't saying that we're
There's
discounting.
There's part of it in my model. Like, we hang Christmas lights in Christmas, and I do it not because it's great money. I really don't. I get into Christmas spirit, man. My vans have antlers and the red nose in the front,
right?
And we wear Santa hats, and I have Christmas hoodies that say ho ho ho, but they say Dream Team. They look cool as heck, and I love the season.
Yeah,
I do it for the kids, really.
Yeah. Nice.
Christmas lights are good money, but I don't make a bunch of money on Christmas lights. It's not like I'm not pricing it low. It's just I don't have that much Christmas light business. But I've come across the single moms with 3 kids that are just struggling, but they really would love Christmas lights.
Yeah, nice.
I've given out free Christmas lights, and I told them, call me back next year. You have them for free as long as I'm in business.
That's awesome. Good for you. Good for them.
But it's just for the kids, man. Like, I don't do it it's not all for money. And sometimes by me being priced at what my value is, my people parts over profit is what I'm willing to do for you.
Yeah.
If you need something around your home and I see something's wrong, my network only has people that are going to do good work that you can count on, just like you count for me. I'm not going to refer somebody who's a schmuck.
Yes.
That's people over profits to me.
Yes. I love it.
It's not all about the money, but there's true value in, like, standing where you, and I feel like, not that you need to, I'm like some gatekeeper that you need to pay me for access to these people and do this and all that, but it's like, if I want to be able to donate work to people that actually need it, I'm going to make it up somehow, some way. And there's people out there that have it to give and that are willing to pay it.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I love this statement right here. Kingdom Pro Wash.
Yeah, that was a solid one. I saw that by Kingdom Pro Wash.
How you do anything is how you do everything. I love that. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I tell people all the time when I'm out there, if I'm in the field, I went ahead and did this too, because I was brought up that if you walk by trash, you pick it up and put it in the trash. And I can't just walk by a dirty retaining wall and just ignore it. You might have not paid me, but it's going to bug me because I got to take a picture of your floor and see it get dirty. You know what I mean? So I did it for you.
Yeah. Yep. I still don't want to ever have you back on again, but
Yes.
But Mike does it all the time. Mike, you give out. There's like every single one of your jobs gets a little bonus.
oh yeah, absolutely.
You know, like, for me, it's like it could be small, man. I might just be the person that walks your garbage bins up the driveway.
Absolutely.
I do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Little things. I don't know, man.
Yeah, what a blessing. That's awesome, brother. Good for you. Good for us. So you fired pest control. What else did you fire?
I got rid of pest control. I got rid of Lowe's. I got rid of my other large commercial account. And by doing so, I feel like we're on pace still. We're 40% higher than revenue than last year.
Wow.
And we've been that consistently. Every month we've done, 30% more monthly revenue than last year.
That's awesome.
And I was scared. I was shaky. You know, I was owed a lot of money. Things got weird. I decided to take some risky moves and fire some people. I don't know if I should have or not, but I did. And it worked out, and it's working out. And I'm understanding that sometimes you have to close a door so you have the time and availability, and like you're ready to receive another blessing. Because if you're not ready to receive the blessing, it's coming your way. Everybody gets them.
Yeah.
But it might go way over your head.
Right. That's it. Say that louder for the guys and gals in the back. You know, it's true.
Yeah, I mean, that's just what it is. And so I was ready, and I took a chance, and here we are.
Here we are. So you fired pest control. Are you hoping to add anything that you haven't done yet?
No, I'm starting to take away the things that, because when we start a business, I feel like we do a little bit of everything to try and get the thing going and get the customers and stuff. And I'm starting to get to the point now where it's like I know I'm really good at certain things, and I can do a lot of things, but I'm most profitable and I'm really good at these things. And that seems to be what I'm getting more, is there's these higher income people are now reaching out to us. Like, I'm not trying to wrap my brain around, how do I get these people to call me? I'm driving by these nice homes, and darn, it would be nice to clean that house. I want that house on my website, whatever. Now they're calling me.
Okay.
The guy from the 14,000 square foot mansion, after we sat down and talked numbers and all that stuff, he said he'd think about it. He said, I want to take you a ride in my favorite car.
Huh.
He goes in his garage. He's got 3 Mercedes. And I think he's going to take me on a ride in a Mercedes. I'm like, dude, I'm dressed for being in the field. I'm not getting in your $70,000 car.
Right.
He pulls out a golf cart.
Oh, nice.
And he takes me along this trail on his 6-acre property into this like lake.
Oh, wow.
And so he just says, like, yeah, man, this is just, I was super busy in my career, and now that I'm retired, this is where I come to find peace. Wow. And I felt like we connected in such a level that he felt he could do that. I did what I was supposed to do. Whether me and him ended up booking that job or not, at the end of the day.
Yeah.
He walked away feeling better after meeting me.
Yeah.
Than had he not. And I feel like that was a win.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And you went there to quote the patio or the pool deck.
Yeah, I went there to quote a patio. He ended up booking everything. We got him on the schedule this morning, and it was like, that's how life is, man.
Yeah.
I didn't go there with like an animal mentality to go out there and get as much money as I could out of him. I told him, if you want me to do it, like, it's not going to be for this. But I'll give you the prices, whatever. We talked about it. I told him I could do it. I understand the materials. I understand the delicacy of some of these things. We talked about his Persian rugs and this and that and all kinds of cool stuff. It's like a 30-minute, 40, it might have been an hour in-person quote. I don't even know how much time went by, but I feel like we got the job, and it's going to be good money, and he's gonna be stoked, and me and this guy are gonna be good buddies for a while. And
Yeah.
I feel like that's why I got in business.
Yeah.
And it just happens to be great that that person that appreciates the value that I'm bringing as a part of my transaction is my ideal customer.
Nice.
He appreciates value. That's why he paid, I don't know how many millions of dollars for a 14,000 square foot mansion on 6 acres. Because he likes the nice things and he's willing to drop big money for them.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think a lot of guys are intimidated by a house that size, and that's why
I'm intimidated by a house that size.
Okay, that's fair enough. Fair enough. I like that. So what says within Gabriel? What causes Gabriel to say, "I'm intimidated by that. That's not necessarily my neighborhood, or isn't my neighborhood. Therefore, those are not really my neighbors, but I can do this. I can watch this house. I can make this guy a long-term friend."
I'm honest with him. I told him it might be a 1 or 2 day job, but understand that I like to under promise and I like to over deliver. So it could be that we get it done in a day. It could be that it goes into 2 days.
Okay.
I'm going to be completely transparent with you. I just want to be able to have, and if I'm doing it, I'm going to set aside an entire time slot just for you.
Yeah.
Where I can take my time and do the right thing. And I feel like it could be 14,000 square feet for the house, and I might be cleaning all 14,000 square feet, but you don't have to think of it that way. You can think of it 1,000 square foot home at a time.
Okay. Nice. Well said.
Break it down into the small pieces and do those sections the way you would do anything smaller. And you might not be so intimidated by 1,000 square feet.
Okay.
How do you eat an elephant, man?
Exactly.
One bite at a time.
One bite at a time, baby.
Nice.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
That's all
So,
it is.
I mean, that's for me. I know how I'm going to start. I know how I'm going to finish. I know that I can't go out there and just start slinging sauce absolutely everywhere and then try and rinse it off in 30 minutes. Like, we just take it one bite at a time and start moving. It becomes a little dance. Yeah. We're doing this section, then we're going to work our way around slowly but surely. And as we're doing this, we'll touch these caps and this and that. And before you know it, maybe 6 hours went by at one property, but it's done. It looks great, and you did it.
Yeah, nice. Oh, I can remember my first mansion, and I thought, God, I don't belong here.
I told you about my first one.
I was done in 3 hours, and I went home at lunch, and I'd made more money than I could fathom, like ever making in a day. And maybe that's one possible answer to that question for the guys who are like, I'm just intimidated by this. Well, you're intimidated the first time. The next time it gets a little bit easier. Before too long, you're looking for those opportunities.
They become fun. Like, those are the challenges.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that I like. They have multiple different types of surfaces. They might take different material to clean those surfaces. It's a different process for every single one. I feel like that gives me the opportunity to really show what I know and what I can do. And I feel like, to me, that's fun.
Yeah, that's good.
My first mansion, I told you about that driveway. It took me 3 days. It was insane, man. It was like the driveway that never ended, and it was like this, and it was like at a steep decline, and I'm out there with this 4-gallon-a-minute Simpson and 20-inch surface cleaner I don't even know how to use. I'm downstreaming Simple Clean. Seriously. 3 days. I think I have a picture of the back of my neck after those 3 days. My neck looked like a shirt.
Yeah.
I was out there shirtless.
Oh, it's great. You went shirtless.
Yeah, it was somebody's house who I knew. They have this big mansion, and they were going to let me practice on their driveway. Boy, that was a practice.
Good practice, man.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, but I did it. They have these like pavers on the border of their driveway all the way out. And as I surface cleaned everything, I knocked out every bit of that sand. So then they had to pay to have pavers resanded.
God. Yeah,
I didn't even know I messed up until like later on in the game. I didn't even know I messed up.
Yeah.
I didn't, but now I know.
Well, you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah. But don't be intimidated by making changes. I think change is a good thing. Change, if nothing else, even if you fail after you try to do something or change something, or you try and implement something in your business, even if you fail, I feel like this is one of my big quotes. Failure is only failure if you don't learn anything.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so even if you quote unquote fail after you try and implement some change, you at least learned something. You're better because of it. So
Yes.
change was good regardless.
Right.
So don't be afraid of it. It might feel uncomfortable, but that's where, I'm wearing this today, this champion stuff, because after last week, 48 hours straight, man, that was no joke. I used to be able to do that all the time. And I did that, and it was hard on my body.
Yeah.
But I told my wife, I said, I don't want to do this. I really don't want to do that. I was telling her all week, I don't want to do this job. But I'm going to do it because I feel like that's what champions are made of.
Nice.
I like it.
Good for you.
And I did it.
Like
and afterwards, I felt really good, and it was happy. And I worked another day afterwards, half the day. But then I took an hour and a half nap, and that was good.
Didn't take much.
An hour and a half.
Hey, Gabriel, Ilcast Games is one of our regular viewers. He has a question for you. What are your thoughts on radio ads?
I thought about it. I just think that nowadays with the technology and vehicles like CarPlay and XM satellite radio being provided for like almost free, like who's listening to radio ads?
Right.
Where are they playing the radio?
Right. Where are you listening
to? And then you have to think, when are they playing the radio? Like when? What time of the day? Because that's the time you want to advertise, and if you're going to actually go that route, right? So I don't know. I don't think that it's a good advertising method. I think you're better off doing something like YouTube, or there's companies out there that allow you to like advertise on Netflix or Hulu as a local service provider, and they like niche down in your demographic and stuff like that. I don't do that, but I know that they exist.
So what about television?
I think it depends. I think that if you're doing like maybe the local news in like a morning spot or like an evening spot or something like that, where you have the chance to have the most viewers, because people are either at home watching the news getting ready, or home watching the news or something like that to catch up on the day's events, if there's people that still do that. I think that would be the time to do it. I thought about it, and I got quotes for how to do it, and I spoke to a couple of people about what it would cost me to do this and that, and it was a decent chunk of change. It's not a joke.
Yeah.
That's
but I bet you.
What's Clay's last name? You know what I'm talking about? C3 Wash Pro. Clay Smith.
Yeah. Oh. I think it is. It's Clay. I don't remember his last name though.
Clay. I want to think it's Clay Smith. He's in North Carolina, and he's always on the news. He's always doing something with the news. And I know he has spoken about how that relationship that he developed with that news channel helped change his business.
Sure.
I mean, it's all the time sharing.
Oh, I believe
stuff.
it.
So
I believe it. I really do believe it.
I think it's probably dependent on your market too, like your demographic, like or maybe not demographic, but geographically where you're located.
Yeah, I mean, how the market is demographically will probably dictate whether that's going to work or not.
Yeah.
I bet you. I mean, I thought about it. Honest to gosh, I thought about it. Like either in the early spring or like early fall, and either advertise like spring cleanings for the outside of your home and do like a live demo, or I've thought about maybe even like advertising Christmas lights and doing some really cool things with the news. You'd probably rock it.
Oh,
you know what I mean? But it's going to cost you money.
Yeah.
It's going to cost you money. Because they do like commercials for the news, or you can buy a guest spot to be on the news.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And get interviewed on the news, like in the morning or something like that. That's kind of cool, right?
That's when to do it. Yeah.
So,
hey, diverting our attention just a little bit because we do like to answer some off-topic questions. Scott Surface Cleaning says, anyone know average price in East Tennessee for a 1,500 square foot home? Couple of variables there. And Scott, if you would tell us what city that you're in, because I know Northeast Tennessee very, very well. And then in his next little comment, he says that he's charging between $285 and $325. I will tell you right off the cuff that you are definitely too low on that. That should be like a minimum price in that area. Don't show up for much less than that. So if you're talking, we're just going to say 2-story house for at 1,500 square feet, you're going to be closer to the 450, 500 range. And Barry Little said the same thing, and he's right about that. Barry is right there near you. So I would take his advice on that. If anybody else has, any of you two have a different comment, feel free to chime in.
I think if you're close to 95%, you're either the greatest salesman ever with a high price, or you're way underpriced. So I'm gonna go with underpriced.
95 is extremely high. I think my conversion ratio this year, I'll check.
I think I'm in like 62, somewhere around that area.
I think you're doing better than me.
It's over in like 57 to like 65, depending on the month.
You're doing better than me.
And that's about where
my conversion 34.22.
Wow. 34.22.
34.22. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, I know guys out there that are, average tickets are $1,500, $2,200, and they have like a 28 to 35% close rate, But you think they're doing that much in one transaction, and they probably only have limited time to do so many transactions. So it might be relative at the end of the year what their revenue is. And for anybody out there, like my ratio is at 34.22, but I'm not doing $1 million a year. I'm not even going to hit. I'm not going to hit 600,000. That was my goal this year. I mean, unless I pull some crazy stunt, I don't see it in the cards. We're about halfway through the year, and I don't see it in the cards. But I know that I'm going to be really happy at the end of the year, because if I keep doing what I'm doing, 39% increase from last year's revenue is going to get me further ahead and closer to that goal.
Nice.
And I'll learn some lessons along the way that'll get me closer next year.
Yeah.
Scott, I answered or spoke to you just there. That's not Kentucky Pro Wash. That's me. I know Kingsport very, very well.
Yeah, this has got to be increased. I think Barry said 500.
Yeah.
I mean, you definitely need to increase that. I would encourage you to increase it until you get a. I like to stay in that 50 to 70% close rate. I'm happy in there somewhere.
Yeah, I think that's a nice little.
There again, his population is probably something like mine, maybe slightly higher. You say he's in Kingsport? Is that what he said?
Yeah, it is higher. Kingsport's Sport is a popular place. Yeah. For that area, Kingsport is a place.
It's probably about like Richmond, Kentucky, somewhere in that area, I would imagine.
One thing you don't want to do is price it so competitively that those that value your time and those that value, like quality work are skeptical about your price.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Because there's people out there that like at face value will judge your business.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so if you say, I'll do that for $300, they're gonna say,
Yeah.
$300.
Yeah. So case in point, we are in the market right now to have our carpet cleaned at our home. And and so my wife is making phone calls, and she called this place. And listen, we've never done it before, so we don't even know really what it should be. But they offered a price of like $250 to $300 for the entire home, and we said, she gave the layout of the home. We don't have a small home, and they said, oh no, it'd still be $250 to $300. And she said, we'll call you and let you know. I'll let you know, because she's like, I got to talk to Mike about this. This sounds too cheap, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know if we're going to hire this group or not, but
carpet cleaning is around 35 to 40-ish cents a square foot.
Okay.
Depends. I mean, that's what it is here.
Yeah, I'll have to do some
I'm
research.
IICRC certified, so I got certified to clean carpets a while back, and I bought all the equipment because I was doing some mobile detailing, and that's one of the services that I nixed early on. But I have the equipment, and I just use it at my own house.
Why am I not surprised that you were going to clean carpets?
I was trying when I first started.
You're not far from me, bro. You're 2 hours or less from me. I need you at my home. I swear, I will pay you 35 cents a square foot to wash my house, to wash my carpet.
Yeah. It was just me trying to see what am I going to do about all this downtime I have in the winter when I first started.
Okay.
And I figured, well, I'll tackle that. It's like in the winter. But the tickets, like the average tickets, were just so much higher, and it was way more fun to do Christmas lights.
Okay.
And carpets are a science.
Okay. I didn't know that.
They are a true science. It's like what we do with exterior cleaning, but interior. They actually have to worry about balancing the pH in the carpet fibers to avoid things like browning after a cleaning or a specific spot or stain. So they know all of these things.
Okay. I'll take that. Take that.
So we're only 2 hours away. So 35 cents a square foot is fair.
I'm teasing, bro. I'll invite you.
Mike's got a 14,000 square foot mansion.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, I believe it.
Trenton.
He's washing 1,000 houses a day.
No, believe you me, that's not the case. I truly am. I want to say this to you, Gabriel. I'm tired. I mean that sincerely. Like the 5 to 7 a day. You'll notice, guys, that I'm just not putting out a lot of videos anymore, and the videos that I'm putting out have no intro or outro. It's like, hey, here's a rust stain. Let's remove this rust stain, because I am flat exhausted. And that's why just today I was thinking to myself, I'm going to play devil's advocate. I want Gabriel to convince me that there's a better route. And most of you know that I am very big on what I call high volume, fair price. And I still am, but I would definitely promote that if you were just starting out and you need to build clientele and you need to build a portfolio. But 10 years in, my portfolio, I don't need much more portfolio. I like new business, but I would tell you, if I could go back 10 years, I would not be the cheap guy. I don't know that I was ever the cheap guy, but I definitely wouldn't be as cheap as I was. And while I would still promote high volume, fair price, what my next step, Gabriel and Jeremy, my next step is to fire. Well, first of all, my next step is to rank or grade all of my customers, literally every customer that I have in my database, A, B, C, D, or F. And then I want to fire all the D's and F's. And I will do that simply by removing their phone number from my mass text every year.
Mm-hmm.
And then after I fire all the D's and F's, I'm going to shrink all the A's, B's, and C's and fire the C's so that I can just have the A's and B's. Because 10 years in, at 53 years old, I had 6 yesterday, I had 6 Monday, I had 5 today. And I'm a month out booked at this number, and I'm very, very grateful. I never want anyone to hear me say that and to sound like I'm ungrateful. The problem is I can't continue at this pace without hiring employees. I don't want to hire employees. So Gabriel, I'm asking you to convince me to mark my ticket up so high to where I have 2 and 3 a day as opposed to 6 a day.
I mean, even if you could do that, if you could do 2 or 3 yourself a day and still be happy. I mean,
right.
Look, the way that I raise my tickets, it's not just by raising my per square foot price, right? Like I'm adding more services. So that requires my job, if I'm in the field on a daily basis, is a physical workout.
Right.
It is a physical workout. Apart from pressure washing and swinging a hose and doing all that stuff, I'm lifting a 35-foot carbon fiber pole, a bunch to do 40 windows.
Right.
I might be climbing a ladder to clean and rinse out some gutters. That it's still physical labor. And I'm doing it at one house to then go to another house and do it, and then do it at another house. And the only break I really get is if I'm stopping for gas. I'm lucky because that means that I get to go inside and grab a Snickers or something.
Yeah.
And that's what I eat all day.
Yeah.
I'm like, look, I'll be 100% honest. What I'm putting my body through is not the best solution.
Okay.
And I know this. I'm conscious about what I'm doing. I'm calling it sacrifice because I know that I have the energy level and the ambition to do it now at this age. I know that I'm not going to be able to do that when I'm, 45, 46. I know I'm not. The body's just not. Our anatomy's not that. So I know I won't be able to. I'm just getting it while I can and putting in the work, planting the seeds today and watering them, because later on I hope to eat the fruits of my labor. I'm
sure. Very, very well said. Well, we have exceeded our general expectation.
This is the longest podcast ever.
Well, I can talk about it. I can just keep on talking about it. In fact, I'm afraid I do too much talking, and some guys have let me know that, and I don't harbor ill will for that, but I do. I'm a talker. I can talk. Jeremy had to hit the eject button. He's got to be up at 4 a.m. and I'm going to do the same. As you know, my friend Gabriel, we pray at the end of every podcast, and we just pray for safety and well-being for our fellow washers and their families, blessings upon them and their rigs. In fact, I'll throw this out here. Myself and a whole bunch of others are going to have our very first rig blessing in our area coming up in August. And I'm going to send you the dates. I would love for you to be able to come, Gabriel. It's just 2 hours for you. Might be a little further than that because we're just a little bit north, but we're going to have, you've heard of bike blessings, like bikers have bike blessings. We're going to have a rig blessing, full day with bouncy houses, lots of food.
Cool.
We're going to circle the wagon, so to speak. And they've asked me to pray over all the rigs and the washers. That's going to be a good time. It's going to be a great time.
Super cool.
Yeah. All right, brother. We're going to bow in prayer, and then we're going to close out. Once again, everybody, What a blessing to have Gabriel on with us tonight. It will not be the last time. I was only teasing about that.
It's a pleasure to be here, man.
Brother, thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. All right, let's pray. Father, it is with great joy that we come to you in the name of Jesus. As tired as we may be, we know that our God never sleeps and he never slumbers. And you make it possible for us to have a podcast and to talk about this thing that we love so much that has provided well for our families. And we hope that it will provide well for other families as well. Father, there are some out there in YouTube world who watch our programs and our channels, and they're struggling because they hear me talk about 5, 6, and 7 houses a day, and Gabriel talking about multiple businesses, and that just seems so overwhelming. I pray, Lord, you'd show them that in time all these things are possible if that's truly what they want, and they just have to stick with it. I pray, Lord, for the respective businesses, the rigs, the maintenance, the safety of the employees and the technicians and the washers. And Lord, we even pray for our customers, especially our customers. And Lord, would you provide for us the type of customer that's going to be most beneficial for our families? We're going to give everyone an amazing experience, an amazing wash. Lord, would you put us in the path of people who are going to allow us to be most productive and allow us to provide for our families. And Lord, I pray for Gabriel and blessings upon his business and businesses and all that he endeavors to do. And we look forward, as he said just a few moments ago, to seeing the fruit of our labor. And we ask this in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. Thank you, my brother. God bless you.
Amen. No, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. And you'll be hearing about me again, man, because I think I need more science. So I'll be shooting you a text soon.
I look forward to it, brother. We'll see everyone next Wednesday night. God bless.